The repair shop sat in the darkest corner of Broken Spoke Station, where most decent people didn't venture after sunset. Marcus Webb liked it that way. Less traffic meant more time to focus on the broken ships that filled his workspace, vessels that other mechanics had given up on, declared too damaged or too old to save. Marcus wiped grease from his hands and looked at the ancient freighter engine in front of him. Everyone said it was dead. But Marcus didn't believe in dead. Not when it came to machines. Everything could be fixed if you were patient enough and willing to get your hands dirty. The station's night cycle had begun an hour ago. Marcus was alone. Exactly how he preferred to work. The silence helped him think. Helped him hear what the machines were trying to tell him. That silence shattered when something massive slammed into his shop's blast doors. The impact shook the entire building. Tools fell from their hooks. The lights flickered. Marcus stumbled backward, his heart racing. Before he could reach for the emergency comm, the doors groaned. Metal screamed as something forced them open, bending reinforced steel like it was paper. A creature filled the doorway. Marcus had seen many alien species during his 15 years on the frontier, but nothing prepared him for this. The being was enormous, nearly 12 feet tall, covered in scales that shimmered like dark metal. Its body was reptilian, powerful, with wings folded against its back. Its head was elongated, almost like the ancient dragons from Earth's old stories, with eyes that glowed a faint amber in the dim light. A vern. Marcus recognized the species from stories, though he had never seen one in person. The vern were ancient, powerful, and intensely proud. They ruled 3 systems in the Outer Rim, and rarely interacted with other species. They certainly never came to places like Broken Spoke Station. The Vern collapsed onto Marcus's workshop floor. Its scales were cracked and dull, losing their metallic shine. It breathed in heavy, labored gasps. Behind it, the creature dragged someone. Another Vern, smaller and more slender, lay unconscious. Her scales were a lighter shade, almost silver. But they looked wrong. Dimmed. Dying. The larger Vern pulled her carefully into the shop, treating her with a gentleness that seemed impossible for such a massive being. Marcus pressed himself against the wall, his mind racing. He should call station security. He should run. But something in the larger Vern's eyes stopped him. A desperation that Marcus recognized. He had seen that look before, in the mirror, years ago when his sister was dying and no hospital would take her because they didn't have money or insurance. The Vern spoke. Its voice was deep, resonating in Marcus's chest. The translation implant in Marcus's ear struggled for a moment, then converted the alien speech into English. Human, you fix broken things. Yes? Marcus nodded slowly. I fix ships, engines, machines. You fix what others cannot. The Vern's eyes burned with intensity. I have heard stories. The human mechanic who repairs the impossible, who never gives up on broken machines. Look, that's just marketing talk, Marcus said, finding his voice. I'm good at my job, but I'm not a miracle worker. The Vern gestured to the unconscious female. Thessia, my bonded companion. She is dying. Cascade organ failure. I have taken her to 17 medical facilities across 4 systems. All refused treatment. I'm not a doctor, Marcus said, but he was already moving closer, curiosity overcoming fear. Why did they refuse? Vern biology is complex. Our bodies are different from other species. Medical practitioners fear malpractice claims. They fear killing a Vern and facing our people's anger. The large Vern's voice cracked, but she will die anyway. In 72 hours, perhaps less, her systems will completely fail. Marcus knelt beside Thessia. Even unconscious and dying, she was beautiful in an alien way. Her scales caught the light, and he could see faint patterns of circuitry beneath them, like veins but metallic. Her breathing was shallow and irregular. What's your name? Marcus asked. Kashith. Kashith, I repair engines and life support systems. I weld hull breaches. I'm not qualified to. Please. That single word stopped Marcus cold. The proud Vierne, a member of a species known across the galaxy for their arrogance and superiority, had just begged. Kashith lowered his massive head, a gesture of complete submission. I have nothing left to offer but my pride, and I lay it before you. Thesia saved my life 3 times. Our bond is sacred. If she dies, I will follow within weeks. The bond ensures it. I cannot let her go without trying everything. You are my last hope. Marcus looked at the dying alien on his workshop floor. Every rational part of his brain screamed that this was impossible. He had no medical training. He didn't understand alien biology. This wasn't a machine with predictable parts and systems. But then he looked at Kashith's eyes and saw the same desperation he once felt. He remembered the doctors who turned his sister away. He remembered the helplessness and rage of watching someone die because nobody would help. He had sworn then that he would never let broken things stay broken if he could help it. Not machines. Not people. Not if there was even a chance. Put her on that workbench, Marcus said, already moving toward his tools. Clear it off, carefully. Kashith's eyes widened. You will try? I'll try. I can't promise anything. I probably can't help, but I won't let her die without at least looking. Marcus grabbed his medical scanner, a basic device he kept for checking his own injuries. 72 hours? At most. Marcus activated the scanner and began running it over Thesia's body. The readings made no sense. Her internal structure appeared partially mechanical, partially biological, completely integrated in ways that seemed impossible. Her organs pulsed with both chemical and electromagnetic signatures. What am I even looking at? Marcus whispered. The reason 17 facilities refused us, Kashith said quietly. Marcus stared at the impossible readings, then at the dying alien, then at his tools hanging on the wall. Tools he had used to fix ships that everyone else had declared beyond repair. All right, he said, rolling up his sleeves. Let's see what we can do. Marcus spent the first hour just scanning. His workshop, designed for spacecraft repair, now looked like some strange medical facility. He had pushed aside engine parts and welding equipment to make room for Thesia's dying body. The scanner moved slowly over her form, collecting data that made less sense with each passing minute. This is impossible, Marcus muttered, staring at his datapad. Her heart. It's not organic. It's crystalline. Like living crystal that generates electromagnetic pulses. Kashith stood nearby, his massive form tense with worry. Verne physiology is unique in the galaxy. We evolved differently than most species. Our bodies are biomechanical hybrids, natural, but unlike anything else. Marcus zoomed in on the scan results. Thesia's blood wasn't liquid in the traditional sense. It was a metallic compound that flowed through her veins, carrying both nutrients and electrical signals. Her organs weren't separate systems but interconnected nodes in a biological computer network. She's like a living machine, Marcus said with wonder. Her entire body is integrated. Every organ communicates with the others through electromagnetic signals. It's beautiful. It is also failing, Kashith said quietly. The cascade has begun. One system fails, confusing the others. They shut down in sequence. Once it starts, our medical science cannot stop it. Marcus looked up. Your people have doctors, right? Advanced medicine? Kashith's expression darkened. Verne medical practice is ancient. Based on energy harmonics and spiritual techniques passed down for millennia, when those methods fail, we accept death with honor. It is our way. That's stupid, Marcus said bluntly. Then he realized he was talking to a massive dragon-like alien who could probably tear him in half. Sorry. I mean, why accept death if there might be another way? Because our pride teaches us that Vierne methods are superior. To seek outside help is to admit weakness. Kashith looked at Thesia, and his voice softened. But I cannot watch her die because of pride. She means more to me than honor. Our bond is sacred. We are connected in ways your species does not have words for. More than mates. More than family. We are 2 parts of one whole. Marcus nodded slowly. He didn't fully understand, But he understood love. He understood not wanting to lose someone important. "Tell me about the cascade," Marcus said. "Start from the beginning." Kashith explained that Thessia's ship had been ambushed by pirates near the Kelvor asteroid field. An explosion had damaged her vessel, sending shrapnel through the hull. She survived the initial attack, but something went wrong afterward. Her systems started failing one by one, and nothing could stop it. Marcus pulled up the detailed scans and began tracing the cascade backward. In his mind, he stopped thinking of Thessia as a patient and started thinking of her as a complex machine. That was what he understood. That was what he could work with. "Every machine failure has a source point," Marcus said, talking to himself as much as to Kashith. "The cascade doesn't just happen. Something triggered it. Something is telling her systems to fail." He worked through the night, cross-referencing organ systems, tracking electromagnetic patterns, following the cascade back through time based on which systems failed first. Kashith watched silently, bringing Marcus water when he forgot to drink, moving lights when Marcus needed better visibility. Hours passed. Marcus's eyes burned from staring at screens. His back ached from leaning over the workbench, but he was getting closer. He could feel it. "There," Marcus said suddenly, pointing at a section of the scan near Thessia's primary crystalline node. "Her heart. See that interference pattern? That shouldn't be there." Kashith leaned closer. "What am I looking at?" "Electromagnetic noise. Something is disrupting the signals from her heart to the rest of her body. That's why the cascade started. Her organs aren't failing because they're damaged. They're failing because they're confused. They're getting the wrong instructions." Marcus zoomed in further, enhancing the image. There, embedded deep in the crystalline structure of Thessia's heart, was a tiny piece of metal, shrapnel from the explosion, no bigger than a grain of rice, lodged in the most critical part of her body. "That's it," Marcus said. "That's what's killing her. The shrapnel is creating interference. Her heart is sending corrupted signals to every other organ. And they're shutting down because they don't know what else to do." Kashith stared at the screen. "The medical facilities? They never found this?" "They probably never looked," Marcus said. "They saw Vern biology, got scared, and refused to go deeper. But this is a problem. I understand. It's like a bad sensor in an engine. The engine isn't broken. It's just getting bad information." Hope flickered in Kashith's eyes. "Can you remove it?" Marcus's excitement faded. He zoomed in further, studying the crystalline structure around the shrapnel. The metal piece was embedded deep, surrounded by the delicate crystal lattice that formed Thessia's heart. The crystal looked incredibly fragile, with hairline fractures spreading from where the shrapnel had penetrated. "The problem is access," Marcus said slowly. "That crystal structure is delicate. If I try to remove the shrapnel with standard surgical tools, the whole thing could shatter. And if her heart shatters, she dies instantly," Kashith finished. Marcus stood up and walked to his tool wall. He stared at the hundreds of instruments hanging there. Welding torches, precision drivers, electromagnetic probes, micromanipulators. Tools designed to repair ships, not living beings. But maybe that didn't matter. "How much time do we have?" Marcus asked. 36 hours, perhaps less. Then, I need to build something." Marcus started pulling tools from the wall. "I need a way to extract that shrapnel without touching the crystal. Something with precision beyond anything that exists in normal medical equipment." "You can build such a device?" Kashith asked. "I don't know," Marcus admitted, "but I have to try." He cleared another workbench and began laying out components. A micro laser from a precision welding unit, an electromagnetic field generator from a navigation system, a stabilization arm from a zero-gravity fabricator, pieces that were never meant to work together. Kashith watched as Marcus worked, his hands moving with practiced skill. The human took measurements, made calculations, adjusted designs. He worked with intense focus, occasionally cursing when something didn't fit, then finding another solution. "Your species is strange," Kashith said after several hours. Vern would use meditation and energy channeling for such precise work. But you build tools. You create solutions from metal and circuits. Marcus looked up, exhaustion clear on his face. Humans aren't naturally strong or fast. We can't fly or breathe underwater. So we make tools. We build things that let us do what our bodies can't. It's kind of our whole thing. It is effective, Kashith observed. We'll see, Marcus said, returning to his work. We'll see if it's effective enough. As the second day began, Marcus had created something that looked like no medical instrument ever made. It was part surgical tool, part welding device, part electromagnetic probe, ugly, improvised, held together with wire and hope. But it might work. Marcus tested it on scrap metal, practicing the delicate movements he would need. His hands shook from exhaustion, but he forced them steady. One chance. He would have one chance to extract the shrapnel without destroying Thessia's heart. I'm ready, Marcus said, though he wasn't sure that was true. Let's save her life. Marcus positioned his improvised tool above Thessia's chest. His hands trembled slightly, whether from exhaustion or fear. He couldn't tell. 48 hours had passed since Kashith had torn through his shop doors. 24 hours remained before Thessia's systems would fail completely. Wait, Kashith said suddenly. You need to understand the risk. If you damage her crystalline heart, the electromagnetic feedback could travel through your tool. It could kill you instantly. Marcus paused, then continued adjusting the device. Then I'd better not damage it. The extraction took 6 hours. 6 hours of the most precise work Marcus had ever done. The micro-laser cut away microscopic layers of crystal around the shrapnel. The electromagnetic field generator held the fragments in suspension, preventing them from falling deeper into Thessia's heart. Every movement had to be perfect. Kashith stood frozen, barely breathing, watching the human work with tools that shouldn't exist to perform a procedure no one had ever attempted. Finally, Marcus's device gripped the shrapnel. Slowly, carefully, he pulled. The metal piece slid free, leaving a tiny hole in the crystalline structure. Marcus sealed it immediately with a medical adhesive designed for hull repairs, modified with conductive properties to match Thessia's biology. Done, Marcus said, setting down the tool. His hands were shaking badly now. The shrapnel is out. Kashith leaned over Thessia, hope blazing in his eyes. They waited. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Nothing changed. Thessia remained unconscious, her breathing still shallow and irregular. Marcus checked his scanner. His heart sank. The interference is gone. Her heart is sending clear signals now. But her systems aren't responding. They've been in cascade failure for too long. They don't know how to restart. Quote, "What does that mean?" Kashith asked, though his voice suggested he already knew. It means she's stable but comatose. Her body is in shutdown mode and doesn't have the energy to reboot itself. Marcus ran his hands through his hair. Frustrated, I removed the problem, but the damage is already done. Her systems need a restart command, but her heart doesn't have enough power to send it. Kashith closed his eyes. Then we have failed. No, Marcus said firmly. There has to be another way. There is no way. In ancient times, Vern legends speak of companions sharing life energy to revive each other. But that knowledge is lost. It became myth. Modern Vern cannot perform such feats. Marcus looked at Kashith, then at Thessia, then at his scanner readings. An insane idea began forming in his mind. The kind of idea that could only come from desperation and too many hours without sleep. Her heart needs an electrical jumpstart, Marcus said slowly, like a dead ship battery. It needs a surge of energy to restart the cascade in the right direction. Yes, but where would such energy come from? We have no Viren medical equipment here. Marcus stared at his own hands. Humans are bioelectrical too. Our nervous system runs on electrical impulses. Our hearts generate electromagnetic fields. It's not the same as Viren biology, but the basic principle is similar. Kashith's eyes widened. You cannot mean. What if I create a bridge? my nervous system to her crystalline heart. I provide the jump start her system needs. Marcus was already moving, pulling cables and electrodes from his equipment. It's insane, but it might work. It will kill you, Kashith said flatly. Human neurology is not designed to interface with Viren systems. The electromagnetic feedback would destroy your nervous system. Your heart would stop trying to match her frequencies. Marcus began attaching electrodes to his temples and chest. Probably. But if I do nothing, she definitely dies. And you die a few weeks later. So really, what do I have to lose? Your life, human. You would sacrifice your life for someone you just met? For an alien you know nothing about? Marcus paused, considering the question. When I was 19, my little sister got sick. Really sick. We were poor. No insurance. Every hospital turned us away. I had to watch her die because no one would help. I swore then that I'd never let something stay broken if I could fix it. Not machines. Not people. Never again. Never again. He finished attaching the electrodes and began connecting them to Thessia's crystalline heart, using his improvised medical device. The setup looked ridiculous, dangerous, like something from a mad scientist's laboratory. Besides, Marcus added, humans are pretty good at surviving things that should kill us. It's kind of our specialty. Kashith watched the human prepare to do something impossible. Something that defied logic and safety, and he understood, perhaps for the first time, why humans had survived and spread across the galaxy despite their physical weakness. They were absolutely insane. If you survive this, Kashith said quietly, you will have my eternal gratitude. And my people's debt. I'll settle for just surviving, Marcus said. He took a deep breath and looked at the activation switch. Here goes everything. He flipped the switch. Electricity surged through Marcus's body. Every nerve caught fire. His vision went white, then filled with colors that shouldn't exist. He felt Thessia's consciousness, distant and fading, like a signal from a dying star. Marcus's heart stuttered, trying to maintain its rhythm while something pulled at it, trying to sync it with an alien pulse. The electromagnetic feedback tore through his nervous system like lightning. Pain beyond anything he had ever experienced flooded his senses. But Marcus held on. He pushed his consciousness toward Thessia's, feeding electricity into her crystalline heart. He felt her memories flash past him, flying through nebulas with Kashith. The joy of bonding, the terror of the pirate attack, the slow fade into darkness. No, Marcus thought. Not today. Not on my watch. He pushed harder, ignoring his body's screams. His hands gripped the workbench, smoke rising from the electrodes attached to his skin. Blood vessels burst in his eyes. His heart rate climbed to dangerous levels. Kashith watched in horror and awe as the human refused to let go, refused to give up, even as his body broke down. Marcus felt something shift. Deep in Thessia's crystalline heart, something flickered. A pulse. Weak but present. Her systems began to respond. Confused at first. Then with growing strength. Come on, Marcus urged. Wake up, live. Thessia's heart pulsed again. Stronger. Her organs began receiving clear signals. The cascade reversed. Systems coming back online in sequence. Marcus felt her consciousness surge toward wakefulness. In that moment, their minds touched fully. She felt his determination, his stubborn refusal to accept failure, and he felt her essence ancient, proud, but grateful beyond words. Thessia's eyes opened. Marcus collapsed, tearing the electrodes free. He hit the floor hard, smoke rising from his burned skin. His nervous system felt like it had been deep-fried. His heart beat irregularly, confused and exhausted, but he was grinning through the pain. Told you. Marcus gasped, his voice barely a whisper. I fix things. Kashith caught Thessia as she tried to sit up. Her movements weak but steady. She looked at her bonded companion, then at the human lying on the floor, and understood what had happened. He saved me, she said in a voice like crystal bells. The human saved me. Marcus managed a weak thumbs up before darkness claimed him. Marcus woke 3 days later in his own bed, which was strange because he didn't remember getting there. His body ached in ways he didn't know were possible. His hands were wrapped in bandages, and when he tried to move, every muscle protested. You should rest longer, a voice said. Female, with a musical quality that seemed to resonate in his chest. Marcus turned his head slowly. Thessia sat beside his bed, her silver scales now bright and healthy, glowing with inner light. She looked completely recovered, strong and alert. Kashith stood behind her, his massive form filling the doorway. You've been unconscious for 72 hours, Thessia continued. Your nervous system suffered significant trauma. Kashith brought human medical supplies, but we weren't certain you would wake. How do you feel? Marcus asked, his voice rough. Alive, thanks to you. Thessia leaned forward, studying him with intense curiosity. What you did should have been impossible. The neural bridge between our species. No one has ever attempted such a thing. Marcus tried to sit up. Kashith moved forward and helped, surprisingly gentle despite his size. Did it work? Are you okay? More than okay, Thessia said. My systems are functioning perfectly. Better than before, actually. But something unexpected happened during the connection. Unexpected how? Thessia hesitated, choosing her words carefully. When you bridged our nervous systems, some of your memories transferred into my bio-network. I can still feel them, like echoes in my mind. I remember things from your life. Your childhood on Earth, the smell of engine oil in your father's garage, your sister's laugh, the determination you felt when you swore never to let broken things stay broken. Marcus stared at her. Is that normal for your species? No, Kashith said. Vern can share emotions through our bonds, but not detailed memories. Certainly not from other species. What happened between you two has never been documented before. Thessia stood and walked to the window. I dream human dreams now. I understand your species in ways no Vern ever has. Your people are so stubborn, so unwilling to accept limits. You see every impossibility as simply a problem that hasn't been solved yet. Is that a bad thing? Marcus asked. No, Thessia said softly. It's extraordinary. My people have forgotten how to think that way. We became so advanced, so perfect in our own eyes, that we stopped adapting. We stopped learning. You reminded me that survival isn't about perfection. It's about refusing to give up. A knock came at the door. Kashith opened it to reveal a Centaurian merchant, one of the insectoid species that traded throughout the sector. The alien clicked nervously, antennae twitching. Apologies for intrusion, the merchant said through a translator. I seek the human mechanic, the one who saved the Vern. Marcus exchanged glances with Kashith. How does everyone know about that? News travels fast on frontier stations, Kashith said with what might have been amusement. Especially news about a human doing what 17 advanced medical facilities could not. The Centaurian clicked urgently. My hive sister. She suffers from crystalline degradation. No doctor will treat her. They say her condition is terminal. But I heard what you did. I heard you fix the unfixable. I'm not a doctor, Marcus protested weakly. You saved a Vern life through methods no one else would try. Please. She is all I have left of my family. Over the next week, more came. A silicon-based life form, whose memory crystals had corrupted, leaving them trapped in their own confused thoughts. A methane breather whose environmental suit had fused with their skin during an accident, and removing it would kill them. A young Tarkelian whose biology was rejecting their own organs after exposure to radiation. Marcus protested each time. He wasn't qualified. He wasn't a medical professional. But they all said the same thing: they didn't want a traditional doctor. They wanted the human who saw problems differently, who approached the impossible with tools and determination, instead of giving up. Reluctantly, Marcus began working. Kashith and Thessia stayed to help, teaching him about energy harmonics and biomechanical interfaces. Marcus taught them about improvisation, about seeing biological systems as machines that could be understood and repaired. The workshop became something strange and wonderful. Medical equipment mixed with welding tools. Healing crystals sat beside power generators. Species that would never normally interact worked together, united by the common goal of fixing what others had called broken beyond repair. Marcus discovered he had a talent for it. His mechanic's mind, trained to understand complex systems, translated surprisingly well to alien biology. He didn't see patients as mysterious organic puzzles. He saw them as intricate machines running on different principles, and machines could be understood. But something else was happening too. Marcus began noticing things he shouldn't be able to notice. He could sense electromagnetic fields, particularly around Viren technology. Sometimes, when working on patients, he felt their pain as phantom sensations in his own body. His nervous system was changing, adapting in ways human biology shouldn't be capable of. The neural bridge left permanent changes, Thesia explained one evening. Your nervous system absorbed some Viren characteristics. You're developing electromagnetic sensitivity. It's crude compared to true Vern abilities, but it's there. So I'm part alien now? Marcus asked. Not sure how to feel about that. You're still human, Kashith assured him. But you're a human who touched something beyond your species. And you brought a piece of it back with you. Consider it a gift for what you did. Marcus flexed his bandaged hands, thinking about the changes in his body, the strange new sensations he was experiencing. Some gift. I can barely control it. You'll learn, Thesia said with confidence. Humans are remarkably adaptable. It's one of your most surprising traits. An alarm sounded from the workshop's entrance. Kashith's expression darkened instantly. He moved to the window and looked out, then cursed in his native language. What is it? Marcus asked. A Vern warship, Kashith said grimly. Highborn Council class. They've come to the station. Thesia joined him at the window, her scales paling slightly. The Council. They've heard what happened. Is that bad? Marcus asked. Though their reactions told him it was. The Highborn Council rules Vern society, Kashith explained. They are the keepers of tradition, the guardians of our ancient ways. Some council members embrace progress. Others view any deviation from tradition as heresy, and letting a human perform medical procedures on a Viren is definitely a deviation, Thesia added. The comm system activated. A commanding voice spoke in the Vern language, and Marcus's translator struggled to keep up. Kashith, of the Flame Wing clan. You and your companion will present yourselves to the council immediately. The human called Marcus Webb will accompany you. Kashith and Thesia exchanged worried looks. What do they want? Marcus asked, though he suspected he knew. Judgment, Kashith said simply. The council will decide if what we did was a miracle or a crime. And they will decide what happens to all of us. Marcus stood, ignoring the protests from his aching body. Then I guess we'd better go explain ourselves. You don't understand, Thesia said urgently. The council could forbid you from ever practicing any form of medicine again. They could punish Kashith for allowing you to work on me. They have the power to destroy everything you've built here. Marcus grabbed his jacket and headed for the door. Then we'll have to convince them otherwise. I didn't save your life just to have some council take away everyone else's chance at living. Kashith watched the human walk toward an uncertain fate with the same stubborn determination he had shown when connecting his nervous system to Thesia's dying heart. The massive Vern shook his head in wonder. Your species really doesn't know when to give up, does it? Nope, Marcus said. It's our best and worst quality. The Viren warship dominated the station's docking bay. It was massive, elegant, covered in scales like a living creature. Marcus felt very small walking toward it, flanked by Kashith and Thesia. Other species on the station stopped to watch. Everyone knew what was happening. Everyone wondered what the council would decide. Inside the ship, the Highborn Council waited. 7 Viren, each ancient and powerful, sat in a semicircle. Their scales showed patterns that Marcus's implant translated as marks of status and age. Some looked curious, others looked angry. The eldest, whose scales were nearly white with age, spoke first. Cashieth, Thesia, you stand before the council to answer for actions that violate our traditions. You allowed a human, a member of a primitive species, to perform medical procedures on Virn biology. Explain yourselves. Cashieth stepped forward, his head held high despite the weight of accusation. Honored council, I sought help from this human because Thesia was dying. 17 medical facilities across 4 systems refused to treat her. I had no other choice. You had a choice, another council member said sharply, her scales a deep red. You could have accepted her death with honor, as our traditions demand. Instead, you brought shame to our people by begging help from a lesser species. Lesser? Marcus spoke before he could stop himself. Every Virn eye turned to him. With respect, honored council, if my species is so lesser, why am I the one who saved Thesia's life when your advanced medicine couldn't? The red-scaled council member's eyes blazed. Insolent human, you dare. Let him speak, the eldest interrupted. I wish to hear what this human has to say. Marcus took a breath, trying to calm his racing heart. I'm just a mechanic. I fix broken ships. But when Cashieth brought Thesia to me, I saw a problem that needed solving. Your medical facilities refused to help because they were afraid. Afraid of malpractice, afraid of your anger, afraid of trying something new. I wasn't afraid to try. And you nearly died for your arrogance. The red-scaled one snapped. Yes. Marcus agreed. I nearly died. But I didn't. And neither did Thesia. That's what matters. A third council member, whose scales were gold, leaned forward. We have examined both you and Thesia since your arrival. The neural bridge you created left permanent changes in both of you. Thesia carries human emotional patterns in her bio network. You have developed Virn-like electromagnetic sensitivity. This has never happened before. We don't know what the long-term effects might be. I don't know either, Marcus admitted. But I'm willing to find out, because the alternative was letting Thesia die, and I couldn't do that. Why? The eldest asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. You owed her nothing. You owed us nothing. Why risk your life for a stranger? Marcus thought about his sister, about all the broken things he had fixed over the years, about the patients who had come to his workshop seeking hope when everyone else had given up on them. Because someone has to, Marcus said simply. Because the moment you accept that something can't be fixed, you stop trying. And the moment you stop trying, you've already lost. Thesia stepped forward. Honored council, may I speak? The eldest nodded. What Marcus did was save my life when our own people would not. But he did more than that. During the neural bridge, I experienced his memories, his emotions, his way of thinking. I understand humans now in a way no Virn ever has. Thesia's voice grew stronger. Our people have become stagnant. We trust only in ancient methods, ancient traditions. We have forgotten how to adapt, how to learn, how to try new things. Humans haven't forgotten. They see every impossibility as a challenge, not a limit. You speak as if this is admirable. The red-scaled council member said coldly. But it is chaos. Humans are reckless, unpredictable, dangerous. Yes, Thesia agreed. And that's why they survive. That's why they spread across the galaxy despite being physically weak. They refuse to accept limits. We could learn from that. The council chamber fell silent. The 7 ancient Virn looked at each other, communicating through their bioelectrical fields in ways Marcus couldn't perceive. Finally, the eldest spoke. This situation is unprecedented. Some of us see what happened as heresy. Others see potential. We are divided. Marcus's heart sank. A divided council meant conflict, possibly punishment for Cashieth, and restrictions on his work. Then something unexpected happened. A young Virn stepped forward from the shadows behind the council. Marcus hadn't noticed her before. Her scales were dark blue, and she moved with difficulty, clearly ill. Honored council, the young Virn said, her voice weak. I am Kyressa, daughter of Council Member Virnath. I suffer from degenerative crystal syndrome. I have been told I have 6 months to live, perhaps less. I have accepted this with honor, as tradition demands. She turned to Marcus, and her eyes held desperate hope. But having heard what you did for Thessia, I realize I don't want to accept death. I want to fight. I want to try. Human mechanic, will you help me? The red-scaled council member, clearly Kyressa's mother, Virnath, stood abruptly. Daughter, no, you cannot ask this. It is not our way. Perhaps our way is wrong, Kyressa said quietly. If clinging to tradition means watching our children die when help is available, what good is that tradition? Other Virn began entering the chamber. Marcus recognized some patients he had treated over the past week. A Tarkelian whose organs he had saved, the Centaurian whose hive sister now lived because of his improvised treatments. They all stood together, a mixed group of species that would never normally unite. The Centaurian clicked forward. Honored Council, this human saved my hive sister when no one else would help. He gave my family hope. He fixed what we were told was unfixable, another patient added. One by one, they spoke. Stories of healing, of problems solved through unconventional methods, of hope restored. The eldest council member watched and listened. Finally, he raised a hand for silence. I have made my decision. The council will vote, but I will speak my position first. Everyone held their breath. What this human did was unprecedented, dangerous, and completely contrary to our traditions, the eldest said. Marcus's heart sank. It was also brave, selfless, and successful. Kashith is guilty only of loving his companion enough to seek help anywhere he could find it. Marcus Webb is guilty only of being unwilling to let someone die when he might save them. These are not crimes. These are virtues. The red-scaled Virnath started to protest, but the eldest continued. I vote that Marcus Webb be allowed to continue his work. Furthermore, I propose that Virn medical scholars be assigned to work with him, to learn his methods while teaching him our knowledge. Let us combine Virn wisdom with human innovation and see what miracles we can create together. 4 other council members indicated agreement. 2, including Virnath, remained opposed. But the majority had spoken. The eldest looked at Marcus. You may continue your work, human, but you will not do it alone. We will send our best healers to learn from you and guide you. Together, perhaps we can save lives that tradition alone cannot reach. Marcus felt relief flood through him. Thank you, honored council. I won't let you down. See that you don't, the eldest said. But there was warmth in his voice. And Marcus Webb? What you did was remarkable. You reminded us that sometimes the most advanced solution is simply refusing to give up. That is a lesson the Virn needed to learn. 6 months later, Marcus's workshop had transformed completely. It was now called the Broken Spoke Medical Collective, a strange fusion of human engineering bays and Virn healing temples. Virn scholars worked alongside human mechanics, sharing knowledge and techniques. Species from across the sector arrived with problems deemed unsolvable by conventional medicine. Marcus stood in the center of his workshop, surrounded by his chaotic team. A Virn healer was teaching a human doctor about energy harmonics. A Centaurian engineer was modifying medical scanners with help from Kashith. Thessia supervised it all. Her presence now a symbol of what was possible when different species worked together. A new patient arrived, carried by desperate family members. Marcus moved forward to help, his hand still bearing faint scars from the electrodes that had saved Thessia's life. Kashith appeared beside him, looking at the organized chaos of the workshop. Your species really is remarkable, Marcus Webb. You don't save lives the way others do. You simply refuse to let people die. Marcus grinned, pulling on his work gloves. Yeah, well, that's kind of our thing. He moved to help the new patient, surrounded by friends and colleagues from a dozen different species, all united by the belief that nothing was truly broken if you were stubborn enough to fix it. The miracle hadn't been just saving one life. The miracle was showing the galaxy that sometimes The impossible just needs someone willing to try. Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.